game one between Tidebound and NGX and see how it all does pan out. I will say I'm actually concerned here for Tidebound, because if this TA doesn't have himself a good game, it's going to be pretty tough, John. You're up against a Monkey King and an LS. You know, you're basically fighting two carries here.
That you are. It's also interesting to note for NGX that Omar did go for a Frenda. We were kind of talking about this before with Muerta, right? Like, no one ever picks a Frenda. It gets slightly buffed up every patch. They increase the attack speed bonus. Omar actually goes for it. So you won't have the persistent calling every time someone dies, that the more spirits, the utility that brings, but you've got some great laning presence as they go for this early smoke here.
I mean, they're going. Planet does see the smoke break, and they don't want a bar of this. The boar is going to see Planet in the end and give him a bit of a, you know, 1-2 punch, but that's about it. Everyone going to be just fine. So we got a sentry ward placement at that large camp here from GH. Obviously just blocking those that triangle large camp that you tend to sack a lot when you have a hero like TA in your team. And they will retreat eventually. No first bloods to be drawn here in this game, number one. No real D wards either here in the mid lane. Everyone just got away with it. And it is going to be a nice even 2-for-2 trade. And Jonathan, naturally we start with the mid lane. You're going to see Simel here up against nothing to say. Now, I dare say you probably should have a pretty decent advantage here for Simel, but it certainly can work either way. Like, nothing to say can just outplay him too.
Yeah, this is definitely all about play, little mechanical skill, how much you can get away with, say, controlling waves, how you position yourself, especially up against this Tidebreaker, how you space yourself here, for nothing to say. It's going to be a key part of all this, so it's down to just how you utilize that. So far, though, Sumail is off to a decent start, getting some stacks up already. Some aggression top lane, though. Already trading away on Y. You're seeing some value from Omar with your friend. Look at that extra attack speed, just allowing him to twack through with a fire spirit going on him. It doesn't even affect Omar in terms of trading back. And that is one big bonus for this facet you rarely see. The Ofrenda does give you some great laning presence at the cost of, again, utility from the calling down the line. But if you can play around this area control, then you have yourself a pretty dainty time. Omar just winning out the right plays purely off of just having, again, that extra 20 attack speed a friend provides you.
Yeah, it's pretty annoying, actually. And Shiro and Y certainly copping the nasty end of that stick. Not very fun. The beautiful thing is Omar can always just delete the Offender as well if he knows he's going to be running into or respawning into a pretty awkward scenario. So, you know, the added bonuses, they do feel quite nice here for the Muerta, assuming you can play within that AoE. How about that bot lane? I mean, you've got Bark there with Planet against GH and Ghost. This feels like a lane that could get pretty dangerous for Tidebound if they're not too cautious. Naturally, once Ghost has perhaps the Orb of Corrosion up, GH has the Glimpse up, you've got to play a little bit careful.
That you do. It is still a pretty stable lane for Bach. I do like that he goes for the Infernal Blade level 1, just in case Ghost decides to tickle him down a little bit with a couple of right clicks. Also just an opportunity to run down GH if he oversteps. Of course, this lane stabilizes quite a fair bit more once you've got that Scorched Earth ready. Once you maybe have the value point in Devour as well to start getting that farm up. This still shouldn't be too much pressure onto Ghost, and he is free farming pretty much in this lane as you'd expect. But as long as Bach kind of soaks up some EXP and finds some good camps for himself to eat with Devour, there is still play. Level 3, level 4 starts to become a lot bearable, especially if you consider the cheeky Chakra combination you can bring out. Like, Infernal Blade at level 1 with a lower cooldown is going to be pretty massive to trade with Ghost as a high HP hero. That burn damage, even at early levels, is not to be underestimated for sure. That will provide, again, a little bit of a bite back there for Bach. But so far, NGX and their lanes are looking pretty damn good. Sumail's having a great time on mid. He's managing to dodge out. Again, he has much more leeway in terms of trying to outplay Nothing to Say. With that Mischief dodge, having the range advantage in the melee matchup always feels good as well. And he's got sustain that Nothing to Say really can't match, outside of maybe the durability of his Admiral's Realm, which doesn't really function the same way as Monkey King's innate lifestealing does. So, strong start for Monkey. Mind you, he did not go for 3 dances. You don't tend to see nowadays. He has gone for Wukong's Faithful. So the rotations into side lanes not going to be as quick for him. But still, he's going to have a lot more presence with Wukong's Mad, and potentially the Ags build-up down the line is just going to feel that much more annoying to play into with a Monkey King here.
I mean, nothing to say at least is doing a good job of not giving the Jingu away to Samel, but it doesn't really matter. And in fact, I say that he does give it away now. Loses his career. The CS war is just not favoring nothing to say at all. It's a pretty tough time. Not much he can do. Bottom lane, Bark. There's your electric fence, John. Bark is in trouble. Bark is gone. Kinetic fence. I'm telling you, it's the way to play this hero.
It is. Like, the way it just cuts off, and it's lower cooldown as well with charges. It's just obnoxious
It's so
to kind of have to deal with that. It does slightly weaken the potential of Static Storm, but the potential you get in choke points is just massive. I think if you have enough control to kind of tie heroes into Static Storm anyhow, it's not going to be a problem. You do have some of that here on NGX, right? The calling can provide a little bit of slow to keep them in later on. And Wukong's, well, Wukong's will just try to force them out, but it still plays nicely with defense. A good start here for the side of Nigma Galaxy, with Ghost getting that kill on Bach before the level 3 is up. Bach does opt for that value point in Scorched Earth to actually have a decent way of trying to run around and providing again some good chip damage onto Ghost, but it's not really doing much to stop Ghost from farming. Again, every lane for NGX is going well. Even the top lane for Noob, he's finding his build-up, he's finding farm. He hasn't bothered with the Axis. He wants to melt through Refraction with the Boar and the Inner Beast, playing around with Wild Hunt as well. This does feel even stronger as the levels go up into that Dominator timing on top of things. And the early tempo lining up for NGX is starting to really kick in, right? Like, we were talking about the timings here for Tidebound. Your lane for Shiro isn't too bad. Like, he is still going to have some timing to play into, say, the Dragonlance. It's not going to be a ridiculously fast TA timing, so you're not going to see as much movement across the map. We're already seeing the side of NGX setting up on mid for that 6-minute rune, or at least setting up some forward vision, trying to bully out Nothing to Say really hard, and it's already having to play the jungle. So again, you're finding everything you'd possibly ask for.
I mean, Noob's being so annoying at this top lane. Like, they're trying to jump him on the Beastmaster. They even try to just snipe his ball to get that nice XP off it, and he just denies it right in front of them. Like, it just, he's being such a nuisance, and here comes Samel to make matters worse. Shiro trying to run away, but I don't think there's any chance of survival here. He's been slowed up too much. Shiro, he'll try to fight. He knows he can't. And Samel will take the kill very nicely here on the Monkey King. And now Samel's cosplaying a ball. Look at that, John. There he goes.
Yeah,
what a cutie.
I love it.
What a cutie.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, if only he could also spit for at least one attack before revealing himself. That'd be a little bit funny. Or if he could tree dance around with that, but hey, maybe a little bit too strong. Well, I mean, I would enjoy seeing a jumping boar, Mike, but maybe down the line, that's how they change tree dance to be more balanced. You can stay in mischief while jumping around. That actually would be an interesting prospect.
If only. We'd call that the Australian patch, John. That'd be the Aussie patch right there.
The drop bears.
Trees. Oh, everything. Oh, be amazing.
Yeah, as amazing as the start is for NGX. Again, 2-0, 2K lead. They're working the map well. Bach is hurting on the offlane, but this is a Doom. It can recover. The issue with a slower start for Tidebound is, who do you connect with? The only hero that is kind of set to go as you approach a 10-minute mark is Nothing to Say. Again, it's a natural combination with a Kotl. Whether or not double Tidebringer is going to be enough, though, remains to be seen, considering the durability on NGX's side as well. In fact, they're going for a very aggressive smoke, looking for an angle into the triangle, or just into mid and force the issue onto NTS.
Here comes Omar as well. They really want to just shut down NTS. The calling, a little bit off the mark. Fence is going to block him from going north. Nothing to Say, still trying to get away. Will throw the boat out to try and survive a little bit longer. Samel is going to get hit by the boat, and he's in big trouble, but he'll heal up just barely. Samel, does he die? He's trying to survive. He will go down. But they will get Y as a response. And now Planet also in danger as GH will move back in. Has another fence. Put it down, GH. There you go. Planet's down a bit. A 2-for-3 trade. GH the carpet.
And GH is building those fences, building those tiny walls up, and Omar is reaping the benefits. Has level 6 now on our Muerta. Has that Pierce the Veil up. Level 2 a friend off the back of that. And I gotta say, again, this little attack speed bonus is just opening up a lot of damage possibilities for the support. Like, he is doing a ton of work. It's a little bit unfortunate you lose Sumail, but he doesn't seem to care. He's already rotating his way up top, trying to keep that pressure up onto Shiro. Shiro's already hanging in the rear part of that jungle, although It's not going to stop Sumail here.
It will not. Sumail out of control already. Shiro being chased, gets a refraction, but the glimpse back plays are there, and Shiro, another death here for the TA. I'm telling you, John, this Disruptor hero, I think these pros have been sleeping on it a little bit too much. It's just so nice with these map changes. If you've got the vision, man, it feels so impossible to play against.
That it is. They've really done a number on these choke points. There's a lot of them all around. Maybe not as much as you'd expect in, say, the main part of the lanes, but certainly those side entrances, the ganks into the jungle feel pretty impactful. You've got very fast level 6s for these supports off the aggression NGX is showing as well. GH has 6. We talk about Omar already having that 6, soaking up on mid. They're still set to fight in the top lane as well. They've got Static Storm ready. Not going to be an easy way to counter fight here on the side of Tidebound. And, you know, Sumail isn't leaving that lane, just walking right back in.
Why would you want to leave? Like, he's got the Orb of Corrosion and he's Monkey King. Like, he just wants to hit people right now. Why? Get caught, gets the Icarus dive away. GH not within range to go for a glimpse back, and they'll just let him go. But you know, this whole time, like, Shiro's just feeling very uncomfortable now in the TA. He's going to end up in the jungle for a little bit. Probably for a lot longer than a little bit, in fairness, John. As mid lane, they are going to make the jump in now into nothing to say. Oh, look at this. The fences, Jonathan. He can't move anywhere. Nothing to say. He's still running. The glimpse back into the Wukong's command, but he's still perfectly fine as the boat keeps him alive.
That's a perfect rune.
Doom is out now into Sumail. A perfect Doom onto the MK, but he's still barely alive, and there's the Infest. Ghost will keep him alive. Nobody dying. Now, John, that's a level 1 fence. Wait till he hits level 4. That's when we have the real fun.
Yeah. Now that is when the fun really begins. I have to say, Nothing to Say was very fortunate to grab a shield rune right before being glimpsed back. That did provide a added durability along with a run buff, of course, from that Ghost ship coming in. It drags a lot of attention onto mid, and it's not attention that Ghost can really maximize, having to come in to save Sumail. So it does work in favor of the side of Tidebound, right? Like, Bach is free for like a few seconds to keep his farm game up. You've got moments where Shiro is not being contested in the jungle, and that is allowing a little bit of a recovery process. You're also just trying to give Nothing to Say a game to play with. Like, he is going into the Blade Mail, into the Radiance, and be a little bit slower going for that build-up. At least has a couple of stacks he could try to clear out here for himself until we start to see that combination kick in. For the side of Tidebound, key thing now is just to buy space for Shiro, right? Like, stall out for him, give him some time. Bach, he can show up every time he has Doom. Not really fully necessary. You kind of need to stall for these two cores. The side of NGX, the pressure's on them to keep this aggression. They have to punish this greedier timing from Tidebound, and they'll try again.
They will try again. They've got the Doom this time, and the fence is just locking him in. So annoying. Buck is down. And I appreciate the argument that, like, Kinetic Field, the other one, is, like, better for Static Storm, but in some cases it's not really. Like, you can be so annoying just by forcing him to move the wrong way.
Yeah. We're seeing it over and over again from GH, and like you said, that's level 1 fence. Once you hit level 4 with 4.4 second duration, it's going to be even more annoying, although GH...
He's gone this time, but here comes the cavalry to try and find some kind of vengeance here for their fallen brother. But it's not going to happen this time. Tidebound, they'll get away with a freebie. Something they desperately need right now. I mean, props to Nothing to Say at the very least. He has found himself plenty of farm from those triangle stacks after a pretty horrendous laning stage. So at least you do have your Kunkka farming up very well. But those are all stacks that you can't now give to Shiro, which I think is the big negative here for Tidebound.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I do feel like it's kind of fine because, again, the only hero you have to launch off right now is Nothing to Say. You have to give this tempo hero the start he needs to at least buy the space for the rest of the chorus, because no matter what, you're still going to be farming up anyhow on Bach and Shiro. Like, it will just take time for them to be ready to join these fights, although not too much time. Dragonlance already up in Shiro. Into the Desolator, he'll go already pretty much just one part away at this point with the farm he has on hand. And GX still not relenting on the pressure, because despite all of this aggression, they only maintain a very slight net worth lead. Again, they've done a great job on Tidebound to work the map, to buy that space for these big cores. And GX has to shut down the map even harder. They have to apply that pressure, because once this TA is online, once the Doom's ready to join in, problems will arise. Although...
What do they toss to lock her down? She's got nowhere to go either, John. She's got to walk the opposite way to a tower. Nothing to say. I mean, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do.
Oh.
They're going to try and drop onto Noob. Okay. Noob's okay, though. Okay, Ek is going to connect, and they've got it. Fair enough. Recall was there from Planet. It looked a bit awkward to start, but Y had the trust that his teammates were going to get there in time, and in fact, they did.
Yeah, a really nice blinding light out from Planet. Trying to drag them in. Ghost being cheeky, waiting for that 14-minute Shrine of Wisdom. Not going to be able to sneak away and steal it. They'll still secure their own, at the very least. That's an important one for you to trade evenly here on Tidebound. Because again, you've got that early tempo on NGX. They want to keep building that advantage up. Every single advantage you deny away makes this game playable. Nothing to say?
They'll try on to nothing to say. Problem is he's been blocked off, John. They can't help him out. Now they can. They'll walk around. Nothing to say. Still perfectly fine as they cannot lock him in. That's half his HP gone pretty fast, though. Like, the thing is, you've got to keep just committing boat over and over again to survive these initiations for nothing to say. It's a very uncomfortable time.
It's uncomfortable at the same time. Again, it's buying space. They're not finding kills on NGX. You're getting sheer space to farm. You're getting that ramp up on this TA, who is just, again, about 1,000 gold away from the full deso. And that's when things start to get rolling here for Tidebound. Tormentor opens up. Roshan opens up after a pickoff, perhaps. The Trap Vision is denying them some easy rotations, although why?
Well, he's got Icarus 5 available, so he's going to be okay. They did cancel his TP, at least. So no TP for him, but thankfully they get a free one with the recall anyway. He's going to go back down bottom here with Planet, nothing to say, Embark, and it seems like they're going to start pressuring that bottom T1 tower. Maybe even just go straight for the Tormentor. I suppose it's a little bit riskier if you haven't already taken the T1, but they're going to do it anyway. Just take it.
Yeah. No one there to stop them. And then tier 1 mid, probably going to be traded away for that, but this is a bigger gold injection. That little power spike you get with a free shard on Y, just having the Sunray in the egg, going to be a massive nuisance as well for NGX to deal with. And again, this is where the concerns arise for the side of NGX. Their early game was great. The tempo was picking up. You're at the point where Shiro will have his full deso flying in 160 gold. Your rotations onto nothing to say were successful the one time. Ever since then, they haven't been able to kill him. And he's just stalled this game so much in terms of just the tempo that NGX wants to find for themselves. NGX, for their part, will take Roshan off the back of it, so at least they deny this objective away from Tidebound. So they will have that freebie for themselves, a secondary life up for Noob, as he does have that full Overlord as well to speed the process up with the Ancient Thunder Hide. So that they at least get some compensation for it. But NGX, they've got to get things done. They've got the Radiance up on Ghost. They've got, again, that full Overlord up on Noob. They've got the full Mage Slayer on Sumail. They've got a lot of damage at this point in the game. You just need to find a different target. Like, you cannot afford to go on nothing to say. You just don't have enough burst for the Kunkka at this point.
I appreciate Bach just built straight into a Crimson Guard here on the Doom, just knowing this Beastmaster is going to be a real nuisance with that Helm of the Overlord. Bottom lane, they found Shiro again. Shiro, underneath vision, could not escape the wrath of NGX down to this bottom lane. That's a real shame for Shiro. Like, you're depending on this TA to carry your game here for Tidebound, and it just feels like every time he gets close to reaching that net worth advantage, he just ends up getting killed off another time.
Yeah, and that's where the success lies for NGX. It has to be these softer targets. It's either the supports go down or just you find Shiro, which is probably your best bet here. The Doom can be a little bit tanky to contend with as well. So the TA is your best bet, and you have to kind of rinse and repeat. Mind you, catching Shiro out like that, not going to happen too often. He gets a little bit overzealous, considering that he feels like, Rosha's taken. He's right by bot after they take that Tormentor. He feels like he has enough time, doesn't respect the tier 2. And does get punished, but once he just starts to stick to that top again, NGX has not been able to pierce through top consistently. And that, I think, again, that's where they kind of need to shift gears to. They'll start pushing in bot tier 1, opening up the map a little bit more, allowing an invasion of the triangle, or at least some monitoring of the triangle. And that can just cut off again of some of the resources. Omar, though?
Omar, he's been caught. Boat is down. He'll drop the calling, but he's taking a lot of damage here, Omar. Ghost is thinking about an infest, but can't quite get there. It's a nice little pickup for the side of Tidebound. I mean, nothing too big in fairness. The T1 bottom tower is still coming down. thanks to Noob, but it seems like with the presence of Nothing to Say, they are going to be able to force Noob back eventually. Meanwhile, top, Sumail is being watched. Bark waiting for his entry. Not going to bother. Doesn't have anything like a blink, and I guess chances are they probably wouldn't have been able to kill him anyway.
No, not quite. They're still getting the space they need to clear out. Bot, Nothing to Say, will get the deny at the very least, but that movement top does open that up. Oh.
That's a nice easy one. Just Omar sitting up onto Y. Nice easy run of Atos into a dead shot play.
You're fine sniping these supports on NGX. Again, you kind of need to just find any kill, keep this tempo up, and try to scatter the forces of Tidebound. Ideally, again, you're hunting Shiro, but they haven't set that forward vision up top, and they're just focusing on mid and bot for the most part, allowing this TA to still free farm up. BKB is going to recall for Shiro, nothing like a blink early on, and you do have that full Radiance up for Nothing to Say. So you've got the evasion burn to kind of contend with how durable Kunkka can be. That burn's going to be there for a lot of these fights if he's in the middle of it. Again, Ghost has his own Radiance, but we haven't really felt its impact yet in a wider team fight. The side of Tidebound now starting to look to make a play. Got the full Crimson plus drums up and Bach. They've got every single spell off cooldown. They just need to catch a big target. GH would not be it.
They've got one. Noob has been caught. They've got the Will-O-Wisp down, but can they actually get him? He's still running his way out of there, and he's fine. A raw committal is all it took. Planet will actually get glimpsed back towards his team, which is maybe a little bit unfortunate for NGX, but they won't lose anything. So now you know the Will-O-Wisp is up, but it doesn't really feel like it mattered in that instance. Here we go again. They're going to try another time, but Noob's got his whole team smoke behind him. They're going to make the jump right onto Bach. They want that Doom dead, and Bach, he's taking so much damage. He'll get the Doom off, at least onto Ghost before he does go down, but he's still outrunning them. The Sunray, it'll keep Bach alive. They'll lose the Aegis on Noob, and now Sumail's in a bit of trouble. He'll try to stand his ground on the Wukong's command, but he's getting quite low, and the Will-O-Wisp just holding him down. Infest from Ghost, keeping him alive. They'll put the fences down a Bird. Nobody really ties apart from Bach. Not yet, but Noob's still in trouble. Here comes Ghost again. He'll move on a Shiro. There's your fence down, but Ghost does not have the damage. Ghost is down. That's a big one here for Tidebound, and they'll even find Omar in the tail end of that fight. And this TA, she's starting to feel like a bit too much of an issue. And for the Lifestealer, like, it's already hard enough to deal with a TA as it is.
And it is. You also have to appreciate that positioning from Y with the egg, and this comes back to that early Tormentor take. He gets the free shard, he's got the Sunray at level 3, it's enough to really stall out their attention onto Bach, buy him the time to actually pop that Doom before dying, and again just take this prolonged fight that NGX does not want to deal with. Like, you do not want to fight a long fight into Kunkka, into a Phoenix, into a Kotl who has a ridiculous amount of healing with Illuminate, and you saw how low that cooldown Will-O-Wisp was. Basically 2 uses back to back, no problems here for Planet. And that's just something you have to contend with. NGX has to find backline first instead of these tanky cores. Like, Doom is too tanky to kill with Crimson. We've seen them try and Nothing to Say multiple times. Shiro is the only one that's viable to kill among the cores. If you can't find them, you have to settle with the supports and hope it boils into a 5v5 afterwards, because you're just not able to take it face on right now on side of NGX. You just don't have that damage. Right? The Ghost, he wants to be in the middle of a prolonged fight, but no one's dying. It has to be the backline first. That sustain is just way too much. You've got Phoenix Kotl, man. Sunray and Illuminate. It's so much healing that you have no way of mitigating.
It's a lot. Planet actually spots out Sumail, drops the Wukongs, and Sumail, he's still out of there. He has the shards up so he can use that Boundless to get to the other end. Planet, though, at that stage now with the Will-O-Wisp where he can start setting up for fights. NGX immediately just leaving that top side of the map. They're not feeling confident anymore. And this is the power spike for Tidebound. Of course, now, like, with Shiro and Nothing to Say at the top of the net worth board, they are looking very, very intimidating. This is that part of the game where if you're NGX, you got to kind of just weather out the storm for a little bit. But Tidebound, they're going to smoke up as 4. They'll go through what looks to be the Twin Gate, heading down to the bottom eastern side of the map. Oh, and Ghost, he'd be a lovely target to be able to secure, and he's right on top of a TA trap. He will get the rage off. Bark's still going to chase him down, but a nice fence here from GH. Nothing to say. Gets another X off, this time onto GH, so at least they can get the cherry on top. Or can they? The fence. You can't take down the fences of GH, John. Have you ever dealt with a fence from a Lebanese carpenter? They're unbreakable.
Yeah, they certainly are. GH just showing that. GH showing that craftsmanship you're familiar with, Mikey. 11-7, 4K lead still up for Tidebound, but they're the ones wasting time. Still, they've got the opening to siege down bot at the least, and with Shiro and Deso, it's not going to take too long to take this objective. My concern for NGX is this game doesn't simplify as it goes late. Right? Like, it kind of can if Sumail can pick up the pace in terms of farm. He's bottom and upward core. He's been very aggressive across the map. He's been, you know, tree dancing, trying to find openings for the team. That has made him suffer in terms of item buildup, and he's not really able to keep up. In fact, top farm in NGX is on Noob, who does have the full AC up. So that mitigates some of the minus armor play Shiro has, especially with him going for the Void Blades, passing on the meld bonus damage along the line. This AC can help boost durability up. It doesn't fix your damage issues. Again, taking a prolonged fight as well up against Tidebound just isn't great. Like, again, Sunray healing, Illuminate healing, spell spam coming out with Planet on hand, double Tidebringer that can come in here for nothing to say. Heck, even lower cooldown meld for Shiro to keep twacking away minus armor onto people. It's going to be a consistent issue. For NGX, I would say they need to kind of shift farm priority now onto Sumail, or at least have Noob start to work onto maybe something like the Ags up. He's going for the BKB first, a little bit more for defense out. Down the line when the Ags is up, at least you've got some consistent source of damage to try to at least twack down on Refraction to simplify that process onto Shiro. But again, right now, damage is going to be your main source of concern for NGX. For Tidebound, I don't think they're under any pressure to play fast even. They can take their time. They can just keep this farm game going. They've got a lot of scaling to go on Shiro, working onto the full Daedalus now, having Chrysalis up. They'll catch more.
Uh-oh. Will-O-Wisp down. They'll catch at least Omar with that, though we will go into that Pierce the Veil, but it's still not looking great for him. Ghost is trying to move into Infest, but cannot. Another nice setup from Planet. And Tidebound, they can go for Roshan. Because they have a TA lineup after all, and they missed the first Roshan, but this one definitely looks to be theirs. Doom committed bottom lane. Sumail, oh, he gets away. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Sumail will be fine. Roshan's still happening at the very least, but it seems like GH is somewhat set up for it. Though it doesn't really seem like he knows. Or does he? Ghost is going to run down. Roshan very low. He'll see nothing to say. Ghost, he'll move in. Roshan about to fall, but Shiro's got the Aegis. Shiro's got it. Ghost will have to run his way back. Now the chase being on as well from nothing to say, trying to find an X-Back, so nothing to say. Ghost will have to fight. Here comes the Egg, though. They don't really want to fight into the sun. They will retreat. Sumail, though, has been caught. He needs some help. The Infest is there. Ghost, he'll back up his brethren. Have they got Shiro? They've got the first light. That's going to be the Aegis down. Tidebound still going, though, looking for Noob. But here comes Shiro once again with the respawn, but Ghost surrounding him. Have they got the TA? Shiro trying to run. Ghost is still trying to chase him down. They'll drag him back. Shiro in big trouble. He's down. Oh. And Ghost can keep going. They'll get Y. Y in trouble. The Boundless will not connect, but the Calling's got him. A long, prolonged team fight. But eventually, they get the TA down a second time. And it seems like the key really is just wait out this egg. Once the Phoenix egg is gone with that Sunray, things just become infinitely easier.
And it does, but it's also a matter of kiting around. Right? Like, Shiro is playing really far forward, pretty far away from where Plant's at, spamming out those Illuminates, so he's not benefiting from the healing. I don't know if the Ghost Ship buff even landed onto him as well, considering that he was dead for a moment. I don't think he was hit quite by the durability. So you're not playing at full power there for Tidebound, and it was just a perfect set of events out for NGX. It was a scrappy start. Ghost made a right call to try to contest Roshan. Rather unfortunate he didn't steal the Aegis. He did have the slot open, dropping down his ward. But again, they managed to fragment that fight. It's just, look at Shiro. He takes a very aggressive posture forward as the egg pops. The illuminates all the way in the back. You don't even see Plant in the screen. And he's just in the middle of everyone with no real backup. Bach came in late, and let's say he didn't have much left there.
Well, mid lane, Noob has been caught. Tidebound at least gonna find a pretty nice trade, and Noob probably realizes he was a bit out of position in this instance, and we'll have to go down. Tidebound, though, can they capitalize? So mid-tier 2 tower is going to be under siege. It should be a pretty easy one. They probably won't have time, or the opportunity rather, to try and make a play high ground, but well, they've got 30 seconds without a Beastmaster. So you've got that going for you, but it just seems like maybe they'll go for the top towers instead. There is still a tier 1 standing after all.
No need to rush again for Tidebound. This game does somewhat simplify as it goes on. Right, like the egg stays relevant, Will-O-Wisp still stays annoying despite maybe some BKBs coming down the line. And you still have this really good backline jump, the scaling on NGX. It's kind of tapered off. They've not been able to give Sumail any more farm than he's had in the past few minutes. You've still got to wait out this BKB on Noob, which is still at least a recipe away. So some time left to wait for. I'll try out with a smoke here on the side of NGX, but again, Tidebound, they're at the point where they're very comfy in this game. Like, they just have room to grow upwards. The full Daedalus for Shiro, pretty much done. Just sending the courier out to buy the parts now. And that's going to be all of his damage already online. NGX has to find a clean jump. It's got to be the backline first. Unless you can isolate Shiro again, then that would be your next big step. But if you can kill off the Coddle, if you can maybe kill off Y, or bait out the egg and re-engage while forcing Tidebound much more forward than they want to be, those are going to be the keys of success here for the side of NGX.
Well, let's see. I mean, Tidebound is still just hanging around that mid lane, just keeping the waves pushed out. They'll group up. Smoke is committed. Where do they go, though? I mean, lines are being drawn towards the top lane. They could find Noob again. They'll pop the drums immediately, seeing that the Beastmaster is around the area. Bach has the blink up. Will jump in. Gets the... what was even that? The Congressions of the Deep? Noob, in trouble, is down. Congregations of the Deep. My apologies, Don. The Ravage. The Ravage comes out of Bach.
I swear that was also called Tendrils of the Deep on the Creeps. It has a bunch of different names for whatever
There's
reason.
two of them.
Congregation. It's, yeah. There are. And I know one of them is also AoE and still called Tendrils. I'm not sure. Maybe my tooltip didn't update that one time. But it is very cool for Bach to have that. Doesn't even have to expend a Doom for that kill. And they take the gem away from NGX. So the traps are still going to be a consistent issue. The vision game is still there. Again, they're applying that pressure in Tidebound. No Beastmaster, 30 seconds. Tier 2 will just fall. Full Shiva's up and running now on Bach. And how do you stop this on NGX? It's got to be a perfect team fight. I mean, it has to be a fight around a choke point. You've got to find a backline, or, you know, you bait out Egg before, you know, throwing out your own big spells and re-engage afterwards. It's a matter of kind of making Tidebound overcommit first and following through afterwards once the durability slightly fades away here. Easier said than done. NGX, you know, they're not losing any ground in their high ground yet, but they have lost the map control. 10k advantage for Tidebound at 32 minutes. Not the most significant, but significant enough considering how far behind against Sumail is now and how Ghost isn't able to keep up with the tempo of Shiro and the durability of Nothing to Say. This Lifestealer just needs so much time to stand in front of someone and kill them. And again, you're reliant on NGX to just bait out that egg first, almost, and hope that, again, they overextend on Tidebound. But Tidebound, keeping that tempo up, looking for the smoke play again.
Into that Radiant Triangle they'll go. There's vision here from NGX, though. They'd probably be happy to fight around this area. They're going to find Noob first, however. Tidebound, a perfect target once again. Noob getting caught quite a few times here in the past couple minutes, and that's going to maybe allow high ground. Tidebound, they're going to give it a crack. I don't see how you defend this without Noob being up, and he's down for 50. No buyback available. Ghost is going to come in. Shiro, he'll jump in with the X-Back, forcing the Pierce the Veil. Oh boy. We're at that stage, I suppose. But the glimpse back is there. Buck, he's going to join in. They've got Shiro by the tier 4 towers, but Ghost can't do enough. Not through the BKB, he cannot. They'll lose GA.
Way too much damage.
There goes your mid-racks. Onto the bottom. Noob still 20 seconds before he respawns. Here comes GH. He'll buy back. That might be enough to force Tidebound away, and it seems like it will be. Can they get a glimpse back play? The answer is no.
You have to appreciate how well Shiro is playing in this game. He blinks forward, he's getting these side blades off on his trap denies, getting the hits off onto Omar despite him being in Pierce the Veil. For the side of NGX, you just don't have enough to threaten. And that's Tidebound not even committing the egg. Like, they still have that egg. They've got the Will-O-Wisp ready to go again, only really the boat coming out there from Nothing to Say. They'll try for a smoke out on the side of NGX, looking for a wraparound, a little bit on the longer mark. The side of Tidebound isn't there though. We'll have to swing right back, and this has to be perfect. With how precarious their damage is, they need to kind of bait out Tidebound here.
They're fighting into Tidebound's vision though. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. They found Noob another time. No. They just won't stop with this guy. Roar is out. Shiro's been caught by that Roar, but the egg with the Sunray making it so hard to actually burst him down. Noob, he's already down first. They've got the life stealer as well by the looks of it. Ghost cannot get away.
No,
he will drop. They even found Omar. Shiro with a triple kill. And I think this game's over. No buyback for Ghost nor Noob. That should be about it. That should be all she wrote here. And that's it. GG's called. NGX will drop game 1 against Tidebound. Who, John, I mean, they played a slower game, but they made it look... They just stuck to the game plan. And
Night Rain facet as well. So you've got the start into nighttime. A lot more presence coming out for Planet. Very useful for the support. And once you have level 2 Iron Shell, there is some really strong rundown potential that you have to respect. First 2 levels are probably slower. That's where you really have to shine here on NGX, but you can't really expect much from a Dusa AA either. Like, this is a very passive lane by virtue of just being double ranged into 2 really tanky off lanes. So you're probably just going to have to accept that the pulls are going to happen, and the levels will flow out there for Tidebound.
We'll see very soon, Jonathan. At the very least, these 2 sides, we'll see if they want to break out into a fight early on. We do see a small smoke rotation from NGX. No fight last game around. Omar's going to run into Y. Will run straight away as soon as he sees him, though. Meanwhile, Samel and GH looking to cut off Y, but they actually run into Shiro. So Shiro, ensure that his support does remain protected. Nigma Galaxy still posturing pretty aggressively. They do want to try and fight for this bounty rune, but Noob seems like he's kind of been left alone. They'll make their reappearance back into this spot as Shiro. Does he want to fight? He does not. He will leave the area, and that will be a 2-for-2 start anyway. It doesn't really matter. Pretty even here, as now Ghost is taking a fair bit of harassment from Planet. Planet already removing just about half his mana on this Medusa. And as you said, Jonathan, we fully anticipate that Planet will probably be pulling quite a bit, as bottom lane they are indeed fighting. Omar gonna back off, but a fair bit of damage being dealt now to Y. Shiro's gonna make it out, and then GX, they will give up the little tri lane they had going. GH, of course, gonna go back towards Ghost, and it seems like Noob and Omar will continue. How do you feel about support Slack, Beto? Do you like it?
I've seen it work. Again, in Rally, we saw 9-class playing this a lot. It's a menace. You can't trade with it in lane because you sit back, you've got Barracuda as your innate, you have that free regen going for yourself. You can spot out wards very easily, and it makes Vision game a nightmare here for the side of Tidebound. And again, it just has this presence that is very hard to shake off. It always has that impact. You have to waste a lot of time to try to catch it out. So I do like it here for NGX. The lane partnership with a Sand King maybe is a little bit quirkier. It certainly can start to kick into gear at, say, level 3 if you manage to soak that up, which theoretically you should be able to do. Although, again, Omar starting off with the usual Essence Shift.
Omar's actually just dead, I think. One more hit will do it from Y. Oh, the Fairy Fire is going to save him. Very, very nice. I suppose that's the issue, though. Like, sure, this Slark can feel really busted with that innate, but at the same time, like, if you're going to run into Shiro and Y while they have Metamorphosis, chances are you're not going to have a very good time.
No. And again, this is still level 1 for Omar. He needs a Dark Pact up to really be that nuisance that he wants to be, negating Wise Presence, just removing the reflection as well as a factor in the lane. But he's going to be able to soak it up fine. Like, they still have the lane under their control. They're doing a great job. They aren't stopping Shiro's farm, which is going to be the big part for the side of Tidebound. Like, theoretically, your Terrorblade shouldn't be under threat for the most part, as long as you manage to play your spacing and utilize your Metamorphosis right. So it basically just boils down to a basic farm lane for Shiro, unless someone does overstep. You know, to see some of the D wards coming out there from Omar again to keep that stability. Taking a look at the mid lane though, nothing to say up against Sumail. The Bristleback versus the Beastmaster lane. Nothing to say, it's just using his back, getting the quillets off. The boars are not going to last long. The creeps don't tend to last long either. And yeah, this takes me back to like 2019,
oh my
right?
God.
When you'd see this Bristleback mid. He doesn't care for the damage. Every time you hit him, it's not Snot Rocket, so he is letting out damage with the Quilt Spray. And it's fairly cheap for Nothing to Say to just stand there and get it all done. Like, it's way cheaper for the quilts to be spammed in comparison to the axes. There's really not much you can do to poke him out here.
And First Blood's already been drawn as well. Why finding Omar down at that bottom lane? So Omar sadly on that support Slark, still not having the greatest of times. Noob even feeling like the need to TP back towards the fountain. So really not feeling quite safe here with this this duo down at the bottom lane. Meanwhile, GH, he's going to lose himself a courier. The thing is as well, the offlane of Tidebound, it is a bit slow as well. The thing is, Planet is pulling. So you are still finding some XP, you're still finding farm on Bark. Sure, Ghost is having a bit of a better time, but it's not really that much better. You know, he's one CS ahead.
Yeah.
Here we go, Planet.
Oh.
We'll run down the AA and just look at this. What are you meant to do against this as GH? You can't do anything, John.
No.
Planet now going for a run. Planet might die to Ghost. Mystic Snake is back up in 1. Planet is gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this as the lanes breakout, right? You've got double squishy ranged heroes up against 2 tanky ones, says.
Ooh, I thought they were gonna keep going for Nothing to Say, but I have to remember it is a support Slark we're looking at.
That it is. You know, again, he doesn't have Dark Pact. He does have pounds to try to set up. They are at least getting some decent rune control going here. So they do manage to take away the water runes from
Oh boy,
top lane. Nothing to Say.
Like, just look at Ghost. Like, they're just chasing him down with double Iron Shells and he can do nothing about it. Like, as soon as Planet moves in with the Void, like, Ghost is just losing all his mana. It's pretty disgusting. And GH, like, he's trying to make his appearance back, but look at this. Planet's just going to run him down. Top lane, Planet's found him again. Luckily, GH by the T1, and the Iron Shell was wearing off, but you can see the AA is not comfortable. In fact, now Bark's going to move in. GH, is he just dead? Oh. I think he might be. In fact, both of them might be gone. The dive in, Bark dropping low, will try to surge away, but does die, but now Ghost falling out of mana. Planet, he won't leave him alone either. Planet will find a double. And it's just, what do you do against this? Like, sure,
Nothing.
you get a kill onto Bark, but who the hell cares?
Yeah, you really don't. The timing's perfect from NGX right before it switches to daytime as well, where Planet's not going to be feeling as strong as a support Night Stalker. And again, it just comes back to this trap. Going for the AA with a Deuce, a safe lane that you go for in the end, you don't have synergy. The best synergy you have is maybe Gorgon's Grasp and Cold Feet, which you don't even have leveled up here for GH. There's no way you stop this chase down once it's committed from Tidebound. Daytime will give you some spacing here on Ghost, but the damage has been done. A very strong start for the side of Tidebound already. You compare what Ghost has in terms of CS in comparison to Shiro, almost 2 times more in Shiro.
Noob.
Not a good point.
Where's Noob going? Uh-oh. Noob's trying to get some added efficiency here by taking a neutral camp, and thankfully for him, he does barely survive. It's like Wire was chasing him for quite a while, and this poor Sand King, Jonathan, he can't really stick around in this lane anymore. Yeah, like, the lane has not worked out. Omar's not bothering anymore. He can't stick around and go after Shiro nor Y. And for poor old Noob, he's stuck at level 4 on this Sand King, and you're at the stage where you really can't contest by yourself.
No, they couldn't just soak up the XP on Omar. It kind of boils down as well to helping secure mid runes, like missing out on that little bit of EXP, missing out on level 3 where you get maybe some value on Dark Pact, means that you don't have that laning presence. They're starting to set their eyes up top here with Y getting the gate movement out.
They know how fast they can do with Ghost if they do get a nice bit of lockdown. Sadly for them, Ghost does spot out Y, so Y probably not going to stick around too long unless they want to pressure the tier 1 tower already. But at the very least, like, you can see just how uncomfortable this Medusa is starting to feel at this top lane. Thankfully for Ghost, he is still found plenty of farm, and is only just about 300 gold behind the Terrorblade of Shiro. But still, that is a Shiro TB that's not going to be slowing down anytime soon.
Still building up, basically a free lane for that Terrorblade already. The side of NGX, and they're going to have to just play it slow. Right, Sumail is the only launching point they really have here. It's going to take a while for your Sand King to start to even consider joining in, even at the level 6 mark. Does need some durability up. Nothing to say is just stealing some stacks away.
Nope. Can be jumped. Nothing to say, though. In big trouble. Can he find a way? He cannot. Nice pickup here from NGX, and something pretty important is now Omar's going to find a pounce, and we'll be able to pick up Y to boot. So that's a nice couple kills. Sure, you do lose a bit of creeps here in the triangle, but they get something for their trouble.
Do like that movement from Tidebound, though. It forces everyone into the triangle after you clear out the stacks already. You buy more free space for Shiro. You're allowing some free room for Bach as well to play in that jungle. Already has the Vanguard up. I think you're very happy with the time utilization here on Tidebound. Like, yes, you're slowing down your Bristle, but the Bristle isn't going to be your key hero anyhow. Your scaling is coming in with the Terrorblade, and you're getting the auras lining up on Bach relatively soon. So your power spikes are still aligned. You're forcing NGX to respond. Mind you, they did have stacks elsewhere as well, which Noob does manage to clear out. Omar did build up the right side of the jungle there, right by the Shrines of Wisdom. And at least for NGX, they also aren't able to apply pressure on Ghost despite, again, having that free space after committing everything onto Nothing Say. So there are some bright sides for both sides. Does look like we're getting more gate movement across the map. Shiro showing up top.
I mean, Sumail is also moving up, though. It seems like they want to set up for this defense. Problem is, Noob, he did pop Epicenter, but he got caught in an ice path. It's a pretty awkward start for NGX. Noob still will Burrow Strike, but is going to die. Sumail does reveal himself, and Omar will TP in as well, but they're not really finding anything. Omar, he'll try to jump Y. Meanwhile, Shiro and Bach looking to retreat. Here comes Nothing to Say now, chasing down Omar, who cannot really escape from this. He will die. And ultimately, for Tidebound, you can still just push in this tier 1 top tower. There's no real defending it here for NGX.
No. Don't have anything left in the tank to kind of get that done. Don't even really have Sumail with mana, as he did to get that early retreat out. Just very unfortunate for Noob. Again, really well positioned from Shiro to scout out. And even that ward they dropped earlier here from Y, from his own early rotation, giving that information behind the tier 1. Opening up that kind of play here for the side of Tidebound early on. For NGX, again, it's just a matter of form. You need something to launch your game off of outside of some Roar pickoffs. It's going to be the Ags for Sumail that he's working into. You still have the Vanguard for Noob plus the Blink, so it's a ways to go until he starts to really find some good angles in for the Epicenter, which again, missed out in the last fight. Nighttime comes out again for Tidebound as well, so Planet's going to be feeling pretty good about just running around onto enemy heroes. We'll have to maybe just be a bit cautious, but there's no blast to be worried about here.
This support Night Stalker's being a real nuisance here, John. Like, this nighttime vision you're acquiring here with Planet is just becoming a bit too much to deal with, and no one's really safe on the map right now for NGX. Even Noob being scouted out right now by Planet, who's actually already level 7, by the way, on this support NS, so he's had a pretty good time. Will find himself a courier with Sumail's Staff of Wizardry on it, which is a real shame, because he was getting relatively close to having the full Aghanim Scepter up. But that'll be gone for about 2 minutes now. Tier 1 mid tower still under siege here, thanks to Nothing to Say, but he will leave it be. Bottom lane is where the fight's going to happen. Ghost will be chased down, Planet to cut him off, and Ghost is going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. It's just that easy.
Yeah, an isolated Dusa just trying to siege in. I mean, they do at least shove out. The tower does fall down, but at the cost of your Dusa, it's a big sacrifice to make. And for the side of NGX, again, that's your key thing here.
This is an even bigger one, John. I mean, Samel is kind of the saving grace for NGX right now, but just look at them chase him down. Crippling Fury's out. Planet, he doesn't really have enough mana for a Void, so you can't slow him much. Oh, in fact, now he does. Now he does. He just pops the one charge he had, and he has barely enough for it. And so Samel even melting to the Iron Shell damage of Bark at the moment. And here I was saying this is a losing hero, John. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Again, in the right game with the right lane combination up against the right heroes, which are double squishy ranged heroes with no control, or not really remarkable control to speak of, it's such a playable lane. And again, Tidebound identified that weakness very well. I love the aggression that we've been seeing out from Planet. For NGX, they really just have to sit back and farm. Like, there is no play here. You maybe have this combination with the Ice Blast ready and Noob having a blink. They need to find a good angle in here, though.
I think they're going to find Ghost. I think they've got Ghost here. Ghost is surrounded. Crippling Fury again out from Planet. And now with the Dark Ascension, there's no way to sneak your way in. Noob, he'll jump in with an Epicenter. Is it going to be enough?
Oh,
with the
Sunder.
Ice Blast? No, Shiro. The Sunder will save nothing to say. They'll take Bark down, but it's still a great fight here for the side of Tidebound. And a Noob, he's underneath a sentry right now. I don't think he quite realizes it, but nothing to say. Can't really move in anyway at the moment. They still want that tier 1 mid tower. And so it's a 3-for-1 trade. Bark the only one dying for Tidebound. And I'll tell you again, I just think this pos 4 Night Stalker, it's just causing too many issues here for NGX.
And it is. Again, you don't have good solutions in your supports. It's not like you can just try to isolate it away with a Slark on Omar, or even just try to freeze him around with GH. It just doesn't work that way. Way too durable to kind of deal with. I'm also quite surprised. I didn't get to talk about this earlier on, but GH going for exposure over a Bone Chill, it's kind of surprising. We never see this picked up on the AA. You almost always go for the additional minus strength, as Ghost is just being stalked during night. No moment of peace for him. But again, they're applying that pressure to prevent the catch-up farm. But this lack of Bone Chill, this lack of softening up is making it harder to kill heroes. Like, yes, the AoE Cold Feet's nice. It's good for farming up. I don't think you're going to be farming up in the A in this kind of game when everyone's so far behind. Like, you don't have room to get that done. And trying to cast Cold Feet in the fight means you're within the firing line as an AA, which you really don't want to be, considering how tanky everyone is and how squishy you are here on this hero.
Absolutely. I kind of agree with that sentiment. I feel like maybe even GH is sitting there like, yeah, maybe I should have gone for the other facet. In fairness to him, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made anyway, considering how the game's gone right now for NGX. But, you know, maybe a bit. Anyway, Tidebound, they might have a freebie here with Omar if he's not too careful. Omar trying to get away. Why? Not able to close the gap. Noob will move in. Epicenter. Going to be pump faked. I mean, you're so reliant on a nice initiation from Noob to set up these team fights. And even then, it's not guaranteed. Like last fight, it was a very nice initiation. It just didn't matter.
Get the free Tormentor for themselves now. Now you have to deal with the Liquid Frost and Fire every single time when you're trading away. They're not really getting anything off that space for NGX outside of free farm for Ghost up top. At the very least, that's starting to flow, although it's not keeping up with Shiro whatsoever. Again, Ghost has had a rougher game. He's been targeted quite a fair bit. Shiro's had a much freer game in comparison. They just never contested this terribly in lane. One of its weakest moments. Your off-lane combination as well with a Slark and Sand King just couldn't do much. At least now, again, you've got the vision game from Omar, but he hasn't even scouted out these forward wards that side of Tidebound has already set up. At least he might be able to break the smoke here.
He may. Case is on. Tidebound looking to wrap around through the river into that mid lane. Looks like a wall was dropped here by Bark. Doesn't really amount to much. They're going to find Omar, though. Omar does have help around, but they might just let him die. Sumel is going to move in for a roar. Ice Blast committed as well. They want to try and burst down this Night Stalker. Omar's going to move back in. Here comes Shiro from the side, though. This has looked like an awkward fight again for NGX, as Sumel is going to die straight off the bat. Noob trying to help out, can do nothing about this as the back as well. And the Sunder. Oh, Noob Nerb is gonna die. And NGX, they're running out of options here, John. They are running out of options. But like, what are you meant to do? Everything they try, it just backfires on them.
Yeah, they can't even catch out NTS when he's playing a little bit far forward. He had some numbers there, couldn't take over. I think for NGX, I mean, it's a desperation play to Ice Blast one hero and not even find it on the support Night Stalker. It's a devastating feeling, but where are you expecting damage to come in from? It has to come in from Sumail with Aurora, but they're just so tanky on the side of Tidebound. They already have the pipe up on Bach. Your magical damage isn't going to be cutting it at this point. At least the top stays alive for a little bit longer. They should be able to try to go for the deny as well if they so wish, cutting some resources out away from Tidebound. But they're losing map control. Even Nothing Say just stands in front of Ghost, pops the blade mill, doesn't care. Already has a Sanj up. I mean, this is a bristleback. He really doesn't care. There's no defusals up yet, and yeah, he just chases down.
Oh, he's loving it. He's having a great old time. He's having a great old time here on this bristle. And so are the rest of Tidebound, Jonathan. Now, mind you, NGX, they're not out of the game yet by any stretch of the imagination. There's plenty of time here to find a good fight and make a big comeback happen in this game, and it's only a 6k net worth advantage. It's just a matter of all the farm for NGX right now just feels like it's sitting on Ghost. And as we know with Medusa, you need quite a lot to be at that 1v5 level.
That you do. You really need almost like an item advantage over the Terrorblade at this point. They'll try with a smoke. Again, if they catch a bigger Ice Blast Roar combo, things could pan out. They just need better targets.
I mean, you can't try for nothing to say, surely. Maybe with the Ice Blast you can, but it's risky. They're going to try. Epicenter channeled. Ice Blast is there. Roar committed. In fact, they're just going to leave him. They are just going to leave him. Tidebound. They try to react with a TP from Bark, but a very nice kill for NGX. And now they rush into Roshan. This is a huge opening. Can they get away with it? You're against the Darkseer in the Roshan pit. It's a bit spooky, Jonathan. There's a Jakiro as well, don't forget. That ice path is not very fun.
No.
And they will leave it. Oh, Omar. Having different ideas. Although Planet does jump in, Omar will TP out. Although a nice vacuum from Bark is going to catch him. So you do at least find a support for the death on Nothing to Say. Obviously not very worthwhile for NGX, or rather for Tidebound, but they do at least stop the Roshan from happening. And now, of course, they want to start Roshan themselves.
Yeah. They've got the damage. They already committed meta. Not going to take too long, especially with the goo starting to come in. The damage from NTS and Shiro. No way of contesting here either from NGX. Outside of a blast to be annoying, but no follow-through for that. Secondary life set to go. Probably onto Nothing to Say. Bristleback with 2 lives. When you can take care of him the one time with the Ice Blast combo, the second time without it, you're really not going to be able to touch NTS whatsoever. Like, this Bristle is starting to get out of control. Again, the Sanjin Yash is going to be finished up. At some point, I would expect maybe even an Ags. Lots of value there with a Bristleback active for sure. And this game is still fully in Tidebound's control. 15-7, 7k lead here at 20 minutes in. Significant for Tidebound to play with. For the side of NGX, I mean, they need so much more, right? Like, you're still not fully ready here on Ghost. At least he has the defusal to help manage and handle Nothing to Say, like drain the mana away from this Bristle, prevent him from spamming out the quilts. You start to have a bit of a simpler game. Whether or not you can actually melt enough mana, though, from Ghost is another question, and it also is a double-edged sword, because if you are caught in the wall of Replica and those illusions, the Dusa illusions start hitting Dusa alone, it also improves their burn on Dusa. You also lose some of your own EHP with your mana shield by just giving diffusal illusions away to the Darkseer. So again, it's going to be a matter of how well they space themselves out here on the side of NGX. For Tidebound, and they've already taken 1 tier 2, mid still standing along with bot tier 1. Just need to find a few more here.
Oh, they're going to find Sumail. That's a big one. Sumail forced to roar. Ice Blast is there. They've got the Aegis. Wall, though. Bark. A very nice wall, in fact. Catching both of them with the vac back onto Sumail. Like, yeah, you get the Aegis off you, but at the end of the day, you lose your real life on the Beastmaster, and he's down for 43 seconds, John. That's not good news. Not for NGX.
Really not at all. At least you're getting a lot of space out for Ghost, but Planet is keeping track. Just waiting for that commitment on mid to end.
Ghost.
And they're TPing in.
Why'd you say his name, John? Why'd you say Ghost? Why'd you have to do that to the poor guy?
I mean, I was watching him, you know.
Now
was
he's
stalking
really a
him.
ghost.
Yeah,
Now he's really a ghost.
living up to his name. They are isolating away Bach at the very least in compensation. Maybe.
Music to NGX's ears. Excuse the pun. Bach. Oh wait, Bach was a painter, wasn't he? He's not a musician. Was he a painter?
No.
Or is he the musician? I can't remember.
He's a musician. Yeah, Johannes Bach.
Okay. So well, you didn't laugh, John. So I assumed I was wrong.
No, I was like, it processed in my head like, all right, Bach. It took a second
Bach?
in my brain, like.
Yeah, you're a real jackass, John. Bottom lane, tier 2 tower. Maybe under siege. You know what? You're worse than Katy Perry. I'm just gonna say you're worse than Katy Perry. I wish you
How?
went to space.
I would
Well,
love to go
you know.
to space. Not just a trip to the stratosphere, but or whatever sphere she went to.
Hey,
You know,
hey.
I'd actually like to go to space.
I'll have you know she was very concerned about her life, Jonathan. Come on now, there's a whole 4 minutes up there.
See, that's the difference. That's the difference. I have no concern about my own well-being whatsoever, Michael Phoenix. Send me up. Strap me in, baby. I don't care. Send him flying. I can be a test subject. It's
We'll
fine.
organize something. We'll organize it, John. Just don't kiss the ground afterwards, alright? It's a bit too cringe for my liking. Come
No.
on now.
Certainly not.
Anyway.
Certainly not.
Moving on. Smoke is there. There's my Katy Perry joke, John. I've been waiting days for that. NGX, they're gonna wrap around through the river. But there's the Dark Ascension. See, this is what makes it hard. Like, you come in for a smoke, Dark Ascension's pop. They're still gonna jump, though. They've got nothing to say. Ice Blast is gonna land, but it's not good enough.
Oh,
Samel's
Mail.
in trouble. Samel's going down. And now the chase is on. Omar's gonna get vacked in. TP cancelled. Meanwhile, Ghost also being chased. He's out of mana just about. Demon's Hill from Shiro. Metamorphosis was not even committed. John, he didn't even commit it.
Nope.
Just why? It's unnecessary.
Yeah, and it was also not necessary to jump nothing to say again. Like, this time around, he had the pipe coming in from Bach. He was not going to melt quick enough. The follow-through from NGX was slower. Like, they didn't manage to get the epicenter on top. They didn't manage to get the chain control off to get that quick kill. And now the high ground's going to be knocking. No roar on the respawn for Sumail, although it will be up relatively shortly at the very least. No Stone Gaze. I don't see a way how you stop this. Like, you're just going to lose these racks. The damage is there with Shiro. Again, from holding Metamorphosis off, he's got an angle here.
And they're trying. Noob with the Sandstorm and Burrow Strike actually doing some pretty good work in stopping this, or at least slowing it down. And in fact, Tidebound, they are retreating. By the way, John, in case you're hearing that, that is not a dog being tortured. My dog's just very excited someone came home. Don't mind her.
No, I didn't hear it. That's fine, Mike. You're all good. I legitimately
good.
did not. I'm glad to know.
I might just
glad to know when
I might just go close the door while you offer some analysis, John. Go on.
You know what, Mike? No, you don't close the door. Drag Luna in. She could do a wonderful job of casting this game, I'm sure. She'd look better in the camera. Still, a great game state right now for Tidebound, as it is 20-17, 15k lead at 25 minutes in for NGX. Their key issue really is that their best play is single target pickoff. The best thing we've seen from them is Aurora Ice Blast with a lot of commitment, maybe even a follow-through epicenter from Noob, just to find one kill. What happens when a wider team fight comes out? It just doesn't feel like they have enough control. They need to be able to... I say they need to find a way to control multiple heroes. It just feels impossible. Like, if you do get the wider team fight, you have to deal with the Darkseer who can vac Wallachia. They already have the pipe for protection as well. Gonna be able to take this Tormentor for free shard for Planet. So he just gets to eat creeps now and restore himself in the middle of these engagements. Very useful against something like the Beastmaster, at the least. And now they're going to go for that smoke rotation out. Welcome back,
Certainly are. Thank you, John.
I was saying as well, you know, maybe we could have Luna on the chair, you know? A little bit prettier, easier on the eyes, Mike.
Oh, don't say that. Ghost? Oh, not Ghost. Not Ghost. He's burning. He'll get the Stone Gaze and he will be able to run away. Here comes the cavalry. They're going to try and help out, but it's just pretty much Omar. And Omar's just going to be chased down instead by the looks of it.
Jeez.
So they'll get Omar, they'll miss out on Ghost, but Omar just gets taught a new one in that scenario. And well, now, I mean, if you are the side of Tidebound, like, with or without the Omar kill, they're going high ground. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Noob. Oh, not Noob. You kind of need him. You do need the Sankey. The Slark you can afford to lose. That's a lot of damage, Noob. Be careful, Noob. That's a lot of damage, sir. Okay. Noob's gone. He has buyback at least.
He does. Just, I don't see how you stop this. They at least have Blast ready with Roar. A sick little Sunder just to keep Shiro alive. Instead, trying to find that kill onto the Terrorblade again, it's just, it feels impossible. They'll be able to hold off Planet.
Roar out. Yeah, they've got Planet. Planet's on a different planet, John. Proper is the wall. Vac is out. Samal is gone. A big lockdown here from Ghost, but it's not really making the difference because he's got no damage. At least you get away with Planet's life, I suppose. Still not the greatest of trades, but it is something.
It is something. You do manage to get a pretty good gold swing your way. You defend your tier 3 bot. You only lose the melee mid, although the melee is the more important racks. Anyhow, you're still in a really good spot for Tidebound. It could just sit back, reset, wait for next Roshan, as it should be respawning soon, it does seem like. On the side of NGX, again, they have to stitch it together for this team fight. Like, they've got to be able to, again, find multiple heroes out with a Burst Strike, Epicenter. Like, try to connect a multi-man Ice Blast with Epicenter on top. It can't all just be about Roar Ice Blast. Only taking care of one part of the equation leaves you vulnerable to the rest. And all of the cores right now on Tidebound, even the supports, are just a massive nuisance. Like, you have no easy ways of controlling them. Again, at the least with that kill on Y, you also do get a free gem on yourself. Like, Noob does have a gem. He's going to be a little bit more secure when he does go into the Sandstorm. So that's one less concern at the very least, but not enough to sway the tide just yet. Tidebound still in a very comfy position. Doesn't take them too long to really kill down. I like that Shiro just went all in on the Disperser, just to ensure that if they do see Ghost, he's just dead instantly. GH, don't get to go home at the very least. Be a little bit annoying.
Let GH go home. GH is gone. Tidebound still taking time. Of course, next Roshan will be the big objective for them to try and focus down. That's an objective that NGX may not really have much of a choice in trying to contest at this point. Like, sure, you could continue to rely on just defending high ground with your Medusa Sanking, but it's not quite recommended. As Roshan will roar, Ice Blast will connect. Noob is also here with an Epicenter Burrow Strike ready. Looks like he wants to try and move in, and he does do so. It's a big Burrow Strike Epicenter, but the Roshan's still relatively healthy, and Noob is down. He doesn't time it quite perfectly. I guess he just wanted to try with the Ice Blast and the Epicenter, but just not enough, and now Noob is gone for 40.
He's gone for 40. He hands back the gem. He doesn't respect the fact that they would drop a sentry by the pit just to ensure that they can take it smoothly here on the side of Tidebound. And I do appreciate that play, right? Like, the Ice Blast is good. You feel like, I gotta make something happen. We're losing on every front right now in NGX. We need to look for a turning point. Just doesn't connect. Maybe if you had Samil to back you up, it could go a little bit better here, but Shiro's just on the chase.
He certainly is. GH gonna make it out. Shiro, though, no remorse for human life at the moment. No regard for human life is what I should have said, John. Thank you for correcting me. Range Racks is going to go down.
Hey, I like the sound of it. You know, it sounded a little bit funky, but it sounded cool.
I'm convinced you just stopped listening at this point, to be honest.
No,
I
I
think we've
don't.
been working with each other way too long. Omar. Omar's in trouble. Omar's down, Jonathan. He's gotten for 44. Now, again, I hate to say it, but chances are it doesn't really matter too much.
No, not at this point. Again, the best you can do right now in the B-ward runs. Can't really do too much in defense. At least he has a shard. You're missing that utility, but it's a half-minute respawn. They'll try. I don't think you're concerned whatsoever for Shiro. He does have 2 lives. He even has that Linken's to protect anyhow. Not an easy target to pin down. They get cut off.
Well, they are playing very safely here, Tidebound. They're not trying to rush this game in any way, shape, or form. They're just taking their time and being very surgical with it. They understand it is their game to throw here. And if they could find a pick off first, they'd much rather that before they try for high ground. And it looks like the chase was onto Samel. Samel will make his way out. They'll just take over the dive triangle instead. It's just very scary against this Pos4 Night Stalker. Like, Planet's just being such a nuisance. Just constantly roaming the map, trying to see if he can find himself a target so that his team can come in and just take him out. And well, the bright side for NGX again, they aren't against Mega Creeps or anything like that. They're holding out. A Ghost is getting bigger and bigger, but it's still a long way off being able to contest Shiro.
That it is. I mean, the Revenant's Brooch as a start, I don't know how strong that is when you're playing into a pipe already. Just that added magic barrier, and not even the barrier, just the aura alone negates a lot of that damage output. It does make it easier to pierce through Shiro, but you've got to be able to stand and hit Shiro first, and can't really get that done here. Although...
Oh, Samel, what's he roar? What did he roar? Shiro looks okay for now. He'll get the Sunder off and they'll move back in. A big back wall. Oh, Barky found all 4 of them. But it doesn't matter. The follow-up wasn't there. It still, I mean, they can just go after the racks as NGX. They have to try and retreat and reset. I don't know where that roar went. It might have been an illusion. Meanwhile, Ghost getting forced up forward. He's not in a good position here, just trying to escape, but that crippling fear making it so hard. Nothing to say now, chasing him down. He's out of mana on the Medusa. Ghost still running, but Shiro just attacking from a mile away. And they might just dive the fountain. 4 down. Only Samel to survive, and they call. They've had enough. GG. NGX getting 0-2 here by Tidebound.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for